We are round 2 of strap making today. So this time we're going to be talking about making straps out of fabric as well as the connectors for your bag. If you haven't already, go ahead and watch you can watch the webbing strap video that shows you how to put the strap into the hardware. And then we just had the rivet and setting video. If you don't want to sew the ends of your strap together, just add some more hardware. In this video, we are going to sew everything on the sewing machine. So if you want to check that out, go ahead. And then also in the chart, in the PDF, we give the length sizing chart in there by height that we found. So go ahead and review that for how long you want to make your fabric strap. So we are going to be making a 1-inch hardware fabric strap. So for 1 inch, you're going to want to cut your fabric. I do 3 3/4 width. So you could also do 4 inches. So for your hardware, you're going to take your hardware and then times it by 4, and then I subtract a 1/4 inch. So for 1 inch, you're going to do 3 3/4. So then by length of however long you're going to make your strap. So typically quilting cotton comes in 40, it's either 42 or 40 inch length width of fabric. So if you're making a child strap, then you will not have to connect 2 pieces of fabric together. But if you're making an adult strap, you're going to have to connect 2 pieces. So I am not picky, and I prefer my connection to be not at the halfway point of my strap, because that's going to could be in the front or technically sort of towards my shoulder. I prefer it to be kind of towards the bottom. And so I cut my first piece at width of fabric, then I cut whatever remainder yardage I need, and I attach it to the largest piece. So that's just how I do it. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So again, we're going to pretend that this is, I like my strap about 48 to 50 inches. So that's what we're going to pretend this, we're just going to make a miniature strap. So I have cut them both to 3 3/4 by the length. You also are going to interface these, but I recommend doing that after you combine your 2 fabrics. All right, remembering how to connect your fabrics is tricky for me. So I tend to make sure I'm on my cutting mat, and I always lay them out the exact same way every time, because you'll find yourself attaching them backwards or the wrong way and then having to rip it out, which is not a big deal, but it can be extremely frustrating. So I try to make sure I have some patience with myself and just do it the same way each time. So if you take your first piece of fabric, the longest, and lay that horizontal, then you're going to take your shorter piece of fabric and you're going to turn it right side down, and then you're going to turn it vertical. Okay, and then you're going to line it up with the end of your top fabric. So end here to make a square. Okay, so you can see our fabrics, they make a nice square here. So the tricky part is which way to sew your connection piece. And this is why I'm doing it this way, so that I can always see that I did it correct. So I take my ruler and I hold it from corner to corner and I test it first. So if you do this and fold your fabric over, you can see that that's going to be the correct way. So if you were to do it this way from corner to corner, you would obviously see, oh, okay, that's not right. So just take a minute and check it before you sew it. Otherwise, you're going to be ripping it out. So I take my ruler and I line it up with the corner of the fabric here and the corner of the fabric at the bottom here. And then I go ahead and draw a line right there. And that's where you're going to sew your 2 pieces together. So I'm going to use a standard 2.5 stitch length. I'm going to go ahead to my machine and stitch those pieces together. Okay, so here are my 2 pieces sewn together. And you can see when you flip it over, Here's our nice seam here, and the strap is all together. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and trim off the excess here at, I leave a 1/4 inch. So 1/4 inch. And then what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to press your seam open, and then we're going to interface the entire strap. Okay, so here is the strap, and it is interfaced. I am using ThermoWeb's version of SF101. It's called Soft, Heat and Bond Soft, not Heat and Bond. I don't think it's Heat and Bond. It's just ThermoWeb Soft interfacing, which I'll link below. So here's our strap. So the next step is going to be breaking it down into 4. So I go ahead and fold my strap in half, and I press it because that's my preference. You could also just use that little tool that makes the crease, like so. So I'm going to press mine when I come back. So then once you press it in half, you're going to use that center line, and you're going to fold in each side to that line here, and then here, like so. Okay, so I'm going to do that, and I'll come back and show you. All right, so here it is pressed. So both edges are pressed towards the center. So next you're going to go ahead and fold it over to create a nice clean edge here. And again, I press this all together like so. And then what I like to do is I go ahead and use my clips, my Wonder Clips here. And I will press this before I sew it, but so I clip my strap together to hold it straight while I sew it. Now, if you have a 1/4 inch foot or a foot with the 1/4 inch seam guide, that would be the most ideal. I sew with typically a 3 to 3.5 inch stitch length, and I sew at a 1/4 inch off either side. And I have my foot on my machine that has the seam guide already in the foot. That is a great foot to use. If you're not a quilter, maybe you're not even familiar with it, but a lot of machines come with it. So if you have a machine that has a lot of extra feet, go ahead and look through and see if you have one. It has a guide that holds your fabric right to the edge and will give you a perfect 1/4 inch seam allowance. So I also like to add a 3rd row of stitching down the middle on some straps. It just gives it a little added, something. On Ross's bag, I used wax canvas, and I put that 3rd stitching. It looked great. So I'm going to take this over to the machine, and I'm going to go ahead and sew 2 top stitch lines, one on either side of the strap at a 1/4 inch. Okay, so here's our strap. Like I said, I used my 1/4 inch with seam guide, so you can see how straight my top stitching came out. All right, so now that that's finished, if you want to make fabric strap connectors like I did, it's the same process. So what I do is I usually either make the connectors the same color as the bag or the same color as the strap. So if you are like, oh, I'm already making the strap, just add like 7 to 8 inches on your strap, and then make it all at one time, and then you can just cut down the pieces that you need. I believe we said like 3.5 inches for each tab, roughly. That's probably a little extra, but we usually overestimate what you're going to need. So you can use, again, make those the same. All of the hardware is standard 1 inch or 1 1/4 inches. So again, we're doing 1 inch. So we're going to pretend we already put our connectors on. Here's our strap. So we're going to go ahead and loop our strap through our hardware. So we have our slide buckle here. You need a slide buckle and 2 swivel hooks. So you're going to take your strap in wrong. We're going to put the wrong side up. So you can tell because I did not change my bobbin thread. This is the wrong side. Then the wrong side of your hardware is going to be facing up. Zoom in here. Okay. So we're going to take your strap, go through the bottom and through the top, just like that. You're going to fold over your fabric. Now, the video I just did, we went ahead and just did one fold over. For fabric, I don't like that, but if your machine cannot handle the layers, you may want to trim this and zigzag the edge or some sort of fray check or something on the end. But my machine can definitely handle the layers. So I'm going to go ahead and take one. I'm going to trim off these, at least make this straight. There. I'm going to take the fabric and fold it under and create a sandwich, just like that. Okay, so here's our buckle. Here's our sandwich. And you can get I'm going to put a clip just to hold this, okay? So you can decide how far in you want your stitching to go. You could easily add rivets like we did in the last video. This would be great for those Chicago screws that are a little longer. So again, up to you on how you want to finish this off. I'm going to go ahead and stitch it. So I'm going to stitch a line, 2 lines, one at the top, one at the bottom. You could also add an X in the center. I don't really honestly care about that. The big thing is making sure that if you are not using the same bobbin and top thread, which I'm not, you're going to go ahead and make sure I'm going to stitch on the top of the strap so that the bottom is the bobbin thread, and I'm going to use a longer stitch length, probably a 3.5. So I'm going to stitch this and I'll be right back. Okay, so here's my stitching top and bottom. Okay, so next we're going to take the strap, again, turn it wrong side facing you. We're going to go ahead and take these first swivel hook and put it with the hook facing down. Take your strap. We're going to go through the top here, over and under, and pull it. Okay. So here's the bottom of our strap there. All right. Next, we're going to go back to the wrong side here. We're going to take our next swivel hook and do the same. Put it right side down. We're going to go ahead and, again, clean up the edge of this. Get a clip. Take your strap and repeat the process. So we're going to fold it over. Make the sandwich. I'm going to go ahead and stitch that, and I'll be right back. Okay, so here is our finished strap. So here's that end all sewn up. You can see here, I'll go ahead and pull off the strap off of the bag that was in the photos. So you can see this one, I did do the 3 rows of stitching. So you can see how that looks. I just like it. I think it just looks super nice. So this one I cut at 4-inch width, and this one I cut at 3 3/4. So you can see the difference. It's slight, but sometimes the smaller strap is just, it depends on who it's for, honestly. If this was for like my niece who's young, I would do a little bit smaller. For Parker, I do just a little bit wider. So again, 3 layers of top stitch, or 3 rows of top stitching, excuse me. So this is our finished strap here. This is our mini one, okay? And then our old video or previous video webbing. Okay, so if you have any questions, drop them below. And again, there are a bunch of videos. We have a hipster playlist with all of them linked together so you can watch everything at one time or go back to them as you need to. And I will see you soon. Bye.